Hi, here's the brain coach I've created for our mixed reality app, and I've been requested by fellow Unity developers to show how I did this special hologram shader. So this is going to be a tutorial explaining how to do it. So let's dive in. I created the brain model in ZBrush instead of downloading one from the web, just because I couldn't find the specific design I wanted. I can show you how to create this in a separate video. It's not difficult, especially for those of you who already know ZBrush. This is the coach prefab. It consists of a cone, a sphere, and a brain model. They all use the same shader logic, but are separate materials with different parameters and different textures. But the logic itself is basically the same. First of all, you can control the color. Secondly, you have the Fresnel power, which controls the amount of Fresnel effect. And you can see the texture I used for the rings, which is this texture here. And also you can change the tiling of this texture, basically adding more rings or less rings. The next parameter is the speed of the rings, which is controlled here. It could be really slow or fast depending what you're aiming for. I think a slower speed is better. This is the texture that if you see the hologram is flickering, I used another texture for that flicker effect. And we will go over exactly what's going on behind the scenes next. Another parameter is the vertex offset, which basically influences the vertices of the mesh itself. So I wanted to animate the mesh, which I actually did only on the brain because I wanted it to look like it's talking. So I'll just show it here, but I didn't use it here. What I did use was the cutoff height, which I wanted to show the hologram appearing, and I used this parameter for that. Now, if I go to the brain shader, it has the same parameters, just different color. You can change it here. And also the Fresnel power. The tiling really doesn't do any effect here because the texture is pretty much like a noise. Also like the speed. Just the flickering is a bit faster, which is kind of nice. And also here, the vertex offset, which is basically to mimic like the brain is actually talking. And the same thing in the sphere. Yeah, they all have the same, basically the same shader behind the scenes. So now that we went over the parameters, let's just go inside the actual shader graph and see what's going on behind the scenes. So if I open the hologram shader, don't be alarmed. It's a bit messy, but I'll explain everything in the next part. Okay, so I'm just going to explain what's happening in this shader. First of all, I'm using a Fresnel effect with a parameter to control the amount, like the power, and the color. And here I'm basically added another parameter with a like a position and step node here that affects the Y, like the RGB, the G is the Y, because I want everything to be able to move from the bottom to the top. So I'm using the step here, and I'm doing this on the Fresnel and also here. This is the texture that is the lines here. I'm using a time node with a parameter to control the speed. That also the parameter to control the tiling, like how many lines, and their movement on the y-axis. Here is the part that's flickering. There's a little bit of flickering, which adds to the effect. It's just a texture that's also controlled by time, and I just remap the values so they will be a little more easier to control. And I add all these up, and also let's see what else. Oh yeah, so the part where it looks like it's moving. Let me just the vertex offset parameter. It controls the vertices of the mesh. So that's why this brain looks like it's talking. It's kind of cool, I think. So this goes like the position multiplied by this texture. And I also added a lerp node. And this goes to the vertex position. So in a nutshell, I have like Fresnel and a texture and another texture for flickering, combined with the vertices that are affected. And this is how I created this shader. Basically, the brain and the sphere are the same, just using different textures, not lines, but something else, just like a noise. If you can see, there is like a noise here. Yeah, so that's like a big, like an overview of what's going on here. So like I said, you can change the color. You can, where did that go? You can change the amount. And also the tiling here affects the number of rings. And speed, of course. And the appearance. And yes, that's it, basically. Let's see how it works here. Let's make it higher, actually. Ooh, maybe better. Yeah, and also here you can make it disappear and appear. It's less gradual because the values are very small. But yes, this also has this effect, the vertices, but it's less pretty. Um, so yes, this is what I wanted to explain and show, and I hope you learned something from it. And just leave something in the comments, and or or not. That's fine. Yeah. Thanks. Have a great time. Bye bye.